What does it mean to be a proper wife when the cost is your own identity? For years, I thought I knew the answer. I was Clara, 32, a graphic designer with a thriving career, married to Tom, a man who once called me his equal. We built a life together, or so I thought, until his mother, Evelyn, decided my ambition was a threat to her vision of family. And Tom, he nodded along. It started subtly, like a slow poison. Evelyn would visit our cozy Chicago apartment, her eyes scanning my desk, littered with sketches and deadlines. "Clara, dear," she'd say, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "When are you going to focus on being a wife? Tom's career is demanding enough." I'd laugh it off, thinking she was just old-fashioned. But her words grew sharper, her visits more frequent. "A real wife puts her husband first. You can't do that with all this work." She spat the word like it was dirt. Tom, my partner of 7 years, said nothing. At first, I thought he was just avoiding conflict. But silence has a way of speaking louder than words. One evening, over a dinner of Evelyn's overcooked roast, she laid down her ultimatum. "Clara, it's time you quit your job. Tom deserves a proper wife, not some career-obsessed girl who neglects him." My fork froze midair. I looked at Tom, waiting for him to defend me, to say I was enough. Instead, he stared at his plate and muttered, "Maybe she's got a point." The room spun. My heart, once so sure of him, cracked. I excused myself, retreating to our bedroom, where my laptop sat open, a half-finished design glowing on the screen. That work was my voice, my passion, my proof that I was more than someone's wife. And they wanted me to erase it. The next morning, I tried to talk to Tom. "Do you really want me to quit?" I asked, my voice trembling. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Clara, Mom just wants what's best for us. Maybe if you took a break, things would be easier." Easier for whom? I wanted to scream, but I saw it in his eyes, chosen her vision over ours. Days passed, and the weight of their expectations suffocated me. Evelyn's calls were relentless, each one a lecture on domestic duties. Tom stopped asking about my day, as if my job no longer mattered. I felt like a ghost in my own home, fading under their demands. But something else was stirring, a spark of defiance, a whisper that I deserved more. I started planning in secret. Late at night, I'd scroll through job listings in New York, a city I'd always dreamed of conquering. I saved every penny from my freelance gigs, building a quiet escape fund. I didn't tell Tom. I didn't tell anyone. The betrayal of his silence had taught me to trust only myself. One crisp October morning, I made my move. Tom was at work, Evelyn at her book club. I packed a single suitcase, clothes, my sketchbooks, my laptop. I left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm not the wife you wanted, and that's okay. I'm choosing me." I didn't look back as I closed the door. The train to New York was a blur of nerves and exhilaration. I rented a tiny studio in Brooklyn, its walls bare but full of promise. My first night, I sat cross-legged on the floor, sketching a logo for a new client. It felt like breathing again. The city hummed outside, alive with possibility, and I was part of it, not as Tom's wife, not as Evelyn's pawn, but as Clara, whole and unbroken. Months later, I heard through a mutual friend that Tom was stunned, Evelyn furious. They'd expected me to crumble, to return begging for forgiveness. Instead, I thrived. My designs caught the eye of a major agency, and soon I was leading projects I'd only dreamed of. I made friends who saw me, not a role I was supposed to play. I learned that family isn't defined by obligation, but by mutual respect, something Tom and Evelyn never offered. Looking back, I see the moment I chose myself as the bravest thing I've ever done. I lost a husband, a mother-in-law, a life I'd built. But I gained something greater, the courage to define my own worth. Society, family, even love can demand we shrink to fit their molds. But we are not clay to be shaped by others' hands. We are artists, each of us, crafting our own stories. So, I ask again, what does it mean to be proper? For me, it means being true to the fire in your soul, even when the world demands you dim it. I left behind a life that no longer fit, and in doing so, I found a life that does.